Hello, Brave Awakened Ones. This is Veronica of Higher Realm Holistics, Lady V. Thank you, supporters, subscribers, and Patreons. Please share these videos with those who you think it might resonate with. If you're interested in any of my services, books, merch, t-shirts, webinars, sessions, and higher realm magic information and meditations, please visit higherrealmholistics.com. Good evening, Brave Awakened Ones. QV here. What's up? We have the victory. It is the 1st of May, 2020. Happy Law Day. And if you guys don't know what I mean by that, check out my community page. Very interesting. Great post by Q. Wasn't even going to make a video today. I was feeling mighty down because I spoke to my daughter earlier this morning. And she lives in Atlanta, and I told you guys she's completely normie, buying into this whole crisis deal, eating it up alive, like yum, 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 like she can't get enough, okay? There's major psychological reasons why she's buying into it so heavily. And, you know, she calls it the zombie apocalypse, as I told you guys. Now, since the lockdown is lifted in Atlanta and it's lifting here as of Monday in Florida, I was like, great, because my plan was to go to Atlanta for Mother's Day anyway, Mother's Day weekend. So I'm like, perfect. Still have time for everything to calm down, people chill the fuck out, and then I can get to go. But I called, she called me up and having a lovely conversation about working out, because she's actually listening to me. And I was like, great, I can't wait to see you. I'm going to come Mother's Day weekend, Thank God the bans are lifted. And she's like, what? Oh, you're not coming here until you get tested. And I want you to get double tested. But I was like, absolutely not. I will not get tested. Then she started calling me a, conspiracy theory weirdo, and that I don't care about her life, and I don't care about the life of my grandchild, and just because you're healthy doesn't mean you can come contaminate everyone else. And if you go see grandma and she gets sick, grandma made it all this time healthy, you'll be the one to kill her. You'll have grandma's blood on your hands. I mean, it got that crazy deep to the point where I just hung up. And what's crazy is that my sister, who's a nurse, talk about her all the time, my older sister who lives in Atlanta. First, they were thinning out her hours. Okay, she works urgent care, and sometimes she goes and works ER fast track. Okay, the urgent care is connected to the hospital, and she was like, we're so slow with patients. They actually cut my hours down 6 hours a week. They're taken away from me. I just spoke to her today. She was, as of last week, I'm not even working. Not even working. They're making her use all her PTO, her paid time off, all her sick time, all her vacation time. And she has 5 kids. And I'm like, dang, all right. So people are sitting there thinking these hospitals are so busy when they're empty. And my cousin, who lives in New York City, works at one of the biggest hospital chains in New York. She's been there since forever, like 20 years, since we were young. She's been working for that hospital system, and she works in admitting. She was furloughed also. No patients to admit. It's like an assistant manager or something. No patients to admit. So even the managers are getting furloughed and laid off. And she works for a huge, this hospital campus looks like a damn city. Huge. No patients. So I'm talking to my daughter, and I'm trying to tell her all this. She's like, oh, that has nothing to do with what's going on. I'm like, they work in hospitals. How does it not have anything to do with what's going on? Like, she's trying to reason the insanity. And it reminds me of the crazy people at the supermarket and at the drugstore, with their double mask and double gloves spraying Lysol on people. I almost decked somebody again. So I'm trying to keep out of the public places where I walk into humans because I don't do human well right now. Okay, I can't pretend anymore. But Okay, so I was feeling mighty crappy because of that. And then I was listening to Potus and Trump and to this conference. And I was getting mighty pissed off while listening to him. I'm like, what? What? How could he talking about Gilead? This is a freaking scam. Are they scamming him? No, he's too smart for that. Because I only listened a few minutes in. I should have listened to the whole damn 18 minutes. He's not even playing 4D chess. He's playing 5D chess. And I'm going to point out exactly what he's up to because it blew my mind. And I was just like, the more he talked to him, I was like, wait a minute. What? And I know this is not spiritual, but we're in a spiritual war. This is all about mind over matter. It's the battle over our souls. So being a light warrior, this is important to talk about. Sorry about that. So yeah, because I even was firing off comments because I was so confused. I was so confused because I know about Gilead. You guys know. I've been a director twice. One of the times I was a director was for the largest manufacturer of IV antibiotics and chemos here in the southeast of America. Okay? I didn't last that long. I was there less than a year because I butt heads with the big owner himself came and tried to talk to me, and I was just like, no, because the stuff they were doing, putting adult things in pediatric kits because the expiration date was about to happen. I wasn't going to have it because my job was to be there for the patients, you know, and the pharmacists and the nurses, you know, that's what I was director of. So I'm very familiar with Gilead. All right. Their pill that they're talking about, their antiviral, cost $1,000 a pill, and the IV med is even more expensive than that. Okay. And the hydrochloroquine is 63 cents a pop. So I was like, WTF? Why? Why? And I started hearing this buzz since the day before yesterday. And then today, seeing that he had this conference, I was like, what is going on? Because I was getting really upset. Taking into account everything I went through earlier today. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you how Homeboy is playing 5D chess. It's not even 4D. It's not even 4D. Okay? First of all, here's Gilead. Okay? And they already have it plastered all over their website, this is not what their website looked like a few days ago, okay? Addressing COVID-19 pandemic, okay? Because this guy, O'Day, he is there at the conference, at the meeting with Trump, all right? And they got emergency approval, fast track approval for this pill, this $1,000 pill and a $1,000,000 IV. So I was like, what the heck? But yeah, I'm going to let you look through their website. Together we're creating possibilities, right? Again, this is not what it looked like a few days ago. Tackling, look at this. Compass Intuitive to help address the HIV/AIDS epidemic in the southern United States, which, by the way, South Florida has, I forgot, was it number 2 in number of AIDS cases? Miami-Dade, actually. That is why, for like years, for a good 5-6 years, I actually had my own life insurance policy that I was paying directly. Was it Aetna? And it was like $163 a month I was paying for my own policy. And then when they switched things around, when Obamacare came around, saying, oh, you could keep your same provider. Yeah. When my policy freaking almost quadrupled, went from $163 a month to almost $400 a freaking month. Okay? Because of freaking Obamacare. And I called them and asked why nothing changed to me. He said, no, because we're charging rates according to your area, and your area has the second highest at the time. It was few years ago when Obamacare first came out. because you have South Florida, well, Miami-Dade actually, I'm not going to say all of South Florida, Miami-Dade has the highest count of AIDS, HIV/AIDS, second highest in the U.S. I think San Francisco's the first and Atlanta's the third, something like that. And New York's the fourth, but it switched around. So that freaked me out, okay? Needless to say, I couldn't afford health insurance and got fined for it, okay? Screw you, Obama. So I was like, interesting. Gilead talking about the Compass Intuitive, battling AIDS. And I also know of this drug, the Remdesivir, I can't even say it right, because several years ago, it came out to cure, not just treat, look at this, even have the rainbow flag going, not just treat, but actually cure HCV, which is hepatitis C. As you guys know, you could die from hepatitis C. All right, it was incurable. It just destroyed your liver. All right, so chronic hepatitis C actually cures. My next door neighbor, when I lived in Atlanta, died from hepatitis C because she had a blood transfusion back in the 70s or 80s, and she was in her 60s, and that's where she got hepatitis C from, because back then they weren't screening for it. So yeah, I had a next door neighbor who was very, very close to, amazing woman, died from hepatitis C because of that. Now, let's go to what Potus here is doing. Okay, let's go through his chess game here. You guys are going to die laughing.
Gilead, you know what that is because he's been in the news and the company's been in the news, and it's a great American company that's done incredible work on HIV and hepatitis C.
Oops, sorry.
And I hear that that's what's happening with hepatitis is a great medical story, really a great medical story. I've been hearing about that. It's fantastic, Dan. I'm pleased to announce that Gilead now has an EUA from the FDA for Remdesivir. And you know what that is, because that's been the hot thing also in the papers and in the media for the last little while. An important treatment for hospitalized coronavirus patients. And it's something, I spoke with Dr. Khan and Dr. Fauci. I spoke with Deborah about it, and it's really a very promising situation. We've been doing work with the teams at the FDA, NIH, and Gilead for spearheading this public-private partnership to make this happen very quickly. So today we're going to be, and I'm going to let Dan do it, but we're going to let Dan make a statement as to what the company is doing, making a contribution to really people that are not doing well, people that are sick, people that have this horrible plague that's set into our country, and that we're getting rid of, and we're going to be having some really incredible results. We have very promising studies coming out on the vaccines. We have promising studies coming out on therapeutics, and the first one is from Dan and Gilead, and I'd like to maybe have you say a few words, if you would, Dan, as to number one about Remdesivir to start off with, and also the contribution being made by your company, and we very much.
See, now all I had to hear was that. I got up to the 2-minute mark, and I was like, the smoke was coming out of my ears. My head was exploding. Remdesivir, how dare they? This thing is so expensive. It's ridiculous. This can't be for real. Potus, what the frick are you doing? Did you lose your mind? What is going on? And then I started making comments. I was like, screw them. Bite me with your damn contribution. Keep your freaking pill. Why can't people get a 63 damn cents pill that's going to cure them of this? Right? And then I had to go woosah, okay? And then I got to listen some more because I was throwing daggers at this man. I was like, ooh, another pharmaceutical scumbag, okay? Especially having been a director at a pharmaceutical company. So I was entrenched, surrounded by these people. Here we go.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you for having us here. Thank you, Mr. Vice President, for the collaboration that we've had. Let me start by saying on behalf of, I know all the colleagues at Gilead, we want to thank all the collaborators that have brought remdesivir to this point. And that certainly includes NIH and Dr. Fauci and certainly Commissioner Hahn and many, many more people that have been a part of this to bring this to where we are today. And in fact, really the thanks go to the patients and the caregivers that participated in these clinical trials. I also want to say I'm privileged to work with a group of amazing scientists at Gilead that for decades have been working on antivirals, and we're poised to put remdesivir immediately into clinical trials when we saw the COVID-19 circulating. So I'm really proud of the colleagues back at Gilead. What I'd like to say is that, on behalf of Gilead, to the President's point, we feel a tremendous responsibility. We're humbled by this being an important first step for patients, for hospitalized patients. We want to make sure nothing gets in the way of these patients getting the medicine. So we made a decision to donate about 1.5 million vials of remdesivir. We'll be working with the government.
The vials is the IV form. Okay, that's what he's talking about. It comes in the, how many cc's? Is it 2, 3 cc's? Vial form, okay, that's what he's talking about. That's what he's referring to when he's talking about the vials, not the pills, okay? So that kind of cooled me off. I was like, oh, they're donating over 1 million dosages? 1.2? I was like, yeah, over 1 million. I'm like, that's quite a bit of freaking money, okay? I was like, why? What are they up to? You'll see.
To determine how best to distribute that within the United States. We'll be working very closely to get that to patients, working with FEMA, working with other parts of the government to make sure that we get that to the patients in need as quickly as possible, because there are patients out there that can benefit from this medicine today that are hospitalized, and we don't want any time to waste for that.
And remember, he's talking about the IV form. The IV form, of course, is not given out of the hospital at all. You have to have a bag running, a fluid bag, blah, blah, put in a fluid bag. So this is IV form, not pill form. So remember, it's for in-hospital patients only. What does that leave open? This is what I wasn't thinking because I was too heated, coming from a very bad experience working for a pharmaceutical company. So that is why I was heated. But then I calmed down and I was able to listen. This is why listening is so important, because the best of us can get caught up in things, okay? And this is part of being able to be open to give a chance to, like I said, not trusting pharmaceutical companies, thinking they're all of the devil, especially when you were a director at one, and realizing that, oh, something's different this time, okay? So remember, this form of remdesivir is not PO, meaning oral. It's not a pill. It is IV form, okay? And that's what they're donating, which is extremely expensive.
And we're also fully committed to continuing to expand the supply of this medicine. We started investing in this back in January as soon as we became aware of the coronavirus. This is a long time to manufacture. It used to be 12 months. It's now 6 months. Our scientists have brought that down. And so as we get into the second half of this year, we're able to have many more supplies available to patients. And we're fully committed to working, Mr. President, with you, your administration, to make sure that patients in need can get this important new medicine.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, but I also noticed the incredible job you've done with HIV, which I remember so well 15 years ago, 16 years ago.
Here we go. He's moving on that chessboard. He's moving a piece on that chessboard. He's saying they started the HIV work 15 years ago. Remdesivir, how remdesivir affects HIV, AIDS. 15 years ago. Listen up.
A horrible thing. I lived in New York. I lost a lot of friends through HIV. Was terrible. And also hepatitis C. Could you give us just a quick moment on how successful that's been? Because I've seen things that are pretty incredible and a lot of people don't know.
Absolutely. And I'm reminded of Ambassador Brix and all of her work in this field as well. That we've worked.
Master Brix. Brix is there. That's who Trump is looking at. Brix is there. Why does he stand like that? It's so weird. Brix is there. They're all looking over at her. Get ready for this, guys. Get ready for this. You have to see Brix's reaction.
The colleagues at Gilead have collaborated for years, both in the developed and the developing world on HIV. I mean, it's really astonishing. This is one of the reasons why when I joined Gilead a while ago, the reason I joined is because of this progress. So you remember, of course, back when HIV was a death sentence, and now thanks to the scientists at Gilead and elsewhere, we've turned this into a really chronic disease and also a preventable disease. And I want to give special thanks to the administration for the work on the HIV prevention and PrEP program that we're working now in many particularly disadvantaged parts of our country to get more patients on prevention, because the best way, of course, to stop and to end this epidemic is a combination of treatment and prevention. And in hepatitis C, I'm really happy to say that the scientists came up with a cure some years ago, and we've made tremendous progress, and including some really creative new arrangements in the United States, like with the state of Louisiana, where we've looked at ways to look at programs to make sure that every patient in a state is able to get the opportunity to be cured. So I'm very proud that we have this kind of science, but also that we put this science in a way that gets access to patients.
And with hepatitis C, it's an actual cure. It's more than just keeping it down. It's an actual cure.
12-week oral therapy cure. I mean, we're still working on the HIV cure. We haven't given up. It's a much more difficult problem. We'll probably get the long-acting medicines first.
Is it a more complex problem?
Much more complex, and this is now, I'm really embarrassed to talk about this in front of Ambassador Brix. She should talk about this, but it's a complex to get the virus completely suppressed.
And where would you put corona in that level of complexity?
Well, I think it's early days on coronavirus. I think this is the first step today, and I think what we'll see, and it may be like with other viruses that we've seen, that with this base step, with an antiviral like remdesivir, that the way to actually even get better results is to add medicines on top of an antiviral. That was
like a Z-Pack and some zinc.
Really how we were able to get HIV to a chronic illness by combination therapy. So this is the
Or add hydrochloroquine. Once they leave the hospital and they're off the IV remdesivir, maybe they could go on the oral. I'm just saying, as somebody with a medical background, I'm just saying, just throwing it out there.
beginning. There's a lot of great companies out there that are working on this that we're collaborating with, my colleagues in the industry, and we're all working together to do everything we can.
Well, it's very exciting, and just so you know, so Dan's making at a company a very major contribution towards helping people, so we very much appreciate that. I mean, I'm talking about a monetary contribution as well as, more importantly, what you're doing scientifically, so we appreciate it very much. Doctor, would you say a few words? The FDA has been moving things along at a level that they've never done before, and I appreciate it.
Watch this.
Thank you.
Well, he's cool.
Appreciate it.
He's cool.
So
But
as
Brix is
the
there.
President just announced, we authorized Gilead's application for emergency use authorization for the use of remdesivir in hospitalized patients. That was issued today. Thank you very much, and congratulations, Mr. Day, for the great work from the company and the collaboration that we had.
So I'm taking the remdesivir will be for those really messed up patients who can't even do PO, who can't take anything by mouth. I'm thinking maybe that's why they're introducing it, the IV one, and not the PO form, because obviously there is an oral, there is a pill form, okay, which is like $1,000 a pop. So that's what I'm thinking, and they're going to introduce the hydrochloroquine for the patients who can do oral medications. Just throwing it out there.
I also want to thank the more than 18,000 employees at FDA who have heeded the President's call to reduce regulatory burden and red tape and move things forward. I think I said the other day this was lightning speed in terms of getting something approved, and from clinical trial to getting it authorized from the FDA, it's been quite the speedy but also effective process. This is an important clinical advance that showed a statistically significant reduction in time to recovery for patients with COVID-19. and is the first authorized therapy for COVID-19. So we're really proud to be part of it. Mr. President, thank you for your leadership.
Here's what I'm thinking, why the remdesivir was approved first prior to the hydrochloroquine, because if they just threw out the hydrochloroquine first and said, okay, completely approved, everybody get it, it wouldn't give Potus the opportunity to introduce all the other things, the more important things that remdesivir is really used for. We all know about the Hep C, but it's the HIV. We're going to see the HIV connection right here and why he's doing it this way.
Well, thank you. And you know, Dr. Hahn left one of the most important jobs in medicine, as you know, to take the FDA, and we're glad he did.
We're grateful.
A very important job and a tremendous reputation, but to take this job, and you're doing great, so we're really proud. Thanks very much. Deborah, please.
I'll just be
Brix.
very brief. I think this really illustrates what can happen in such a short time. I mean, from the first case that was diagnosed in the United States to now our first step forward with a therapeutic in less than 90 days. For those of us who have worked in viral diseases and pandemics for a long time, this is our first really positive step forward. It's our first step forward. Obviously, groups are still working on vaccines. I just want to also thank the company for not only making sure this got into clinical trial, but for individuals who didn't qualify for the clinical trial, they made compassionate use drug available from the very beginning at our request and around the world. And I think that combination of really strong scientific, rigorous clinical trials, but also when you don't really have something to make compassionate use available was also really quite extraordinary. So again, also thank you for the patients, because obviously this was a randomized trial. There was a group that did not get drug. It's why the Data Safety Monitoring Board stopped the trial, because of this statistical difference, because you can't keep placebos on a trial when you already have shown significance in the treatment arm. And so to the patients who were willing to be randomized, and to the doctors who did the trials and the nurses who took care of them, we're really very grateful, because this clinical research is critical for these breakthroughs. But obviously there's someone getting the agent and there's others that aren't. And so that's really been extraordinary.
Thank you very much, Shireen. You know, while we're here and we have the media, I'd like to just maybe have Alex discuss it for a second. We will be AIDS-free as a country, and I used to say 2 years ago, 10 years, and now we're down to 8 years, and maybe even sooner than that, working with Gilead and other companies, and working with the great people that we're dealing with medically in our country. And maybe you could say something about that, Alex, because when nobody knows you could even do that, but we're looking to be AIDS-free within the United States within 8 years. We started it. Frankly, it could have been started in the previous administration, and they decided not to, and I decided to do it. So please, Alex.
Well, again,
Remember, Miss Thing over here is supposed to be the expert on AIDS. She's been there, the old administration.
It's a bit embarrassing to be talking about HIV/AIDS standing next to Dr. Brix, so she can correct me as we go. But really, thanks to President Trump's leadership, the tools were there. The tools were there to end the HIV epidemic in the
I gotta point this out. I have to point this out. Watch the blinking. She goes bananas with the blinking. Look at Trump's face, man. Watch the blinking on her.
United States, but it was the President's call in the State of the Union address that brought everyone together, including this great company Gilead and the United States government, all of our partners, to actually end the HIV epidemic. And the tools are that you need to diagnose individuals. So part of that is getting people that are in underserved areas. We particularly have African American males in southern rural communities. We have Native Americans. We have many underserved who are not getting diagnosed. If we can get you diagnosed, we can get you on therapy if you are positive for the disease. And if you're on therapy and your viral load is undetectable, you are untransmissible. You can't give that virus to somebody else if you stay on therapy. And our amazing Ryan White program has an incredible over 80% success rate at getting people who are positive to be undetectable by being compliant with their drugs. And then if you're negative, but you have behaviors that put you at risk for getting HIV, you can take PrEP. You can take the product that would compliance, it keeps you 97% chance that you won't get the HIV disease also.
Not for nothing. When it comes to the whole PrEP thing, this is just my personal opinion. This is not medical advice. There are a lot of side effects. So, best thing, people, just don't do risky stuff. Okay? Just don't do risky stuff. Seriously. And it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, black, or white. As they say, put a bag over it. All right? Don't be promiscuous. Seriously. That's the risky behavior. Why take a drug that's going to mess up your liver, mess up your kidneys, do all this horrible stuff to the rest of your organs? Why do that? Put yourself at that type of risk instead of just being in a monogamous relationship. And of course that doesn't guarantee stuff, but screen the partner that you're with. Don't jump into bed with them the first shot. Get them tested. God knows I did that to my own husband before we did anything. Seriously, I did. I wasn't playing. We went together. I'm one of those. That night I ID'd him on our first date. But seriously, we have to take those type of precautions. Take those precautions before saying, "Oh, it's easy. I could put a pill in my mouth and go to the parade, the rainbow parade, and screw the person standing next to me in a dog suit," which I've seen. I'm not making stuff up. Okay? So, like I said, I've been to the parade in New York, in California, and down here in Florida. I've seen some crazy stuff, and yes, they will do that in public. So, why have that insane behavior? Hopefully, as we raise our vibrations, that type of stuff will die out and not happen anymore. Just keep an eye on her. She's driving me crazy with that eye blinking.
And so the tools are there. It's about execution and blocking and tackling, and that's what the president's leading, and we've gotten the funding from Congress for this. So we really have this in our grasp. But the tools were there, but it took President Trump's call to action to make this a reality.
My first year in office, I was being briefed, and they told me that this is a possibility if we wanted to do it. I said, who wouldn't want to do this? And everything's a lot of money, but this is small money compared to what we're talking about. And I'm somebody from New York who lost a lot of friends to AIDS. A tremendous number of friends, some of the most talented people.
Because in the
that I
80s,
knew
it was
lost to
crazy.
AIDS. And
The AIDS.
it's incredible. Do you have anything to add to what, because you are, I mean, you're the real expert on AIDS and the eradication. Anything to add about eradication in our country?
Yo, he's wicked for doing that. He's wicked for doing that to her. I was like, damn, you bad.
Country?
We just appreciate the government's support on doing both domestic work and global work on HIV/AIDS, because obviously you also are invested in the PEPFAR program to really bring the same level of compassion and treatment to people around the globe to really control the epidemic around the globe, and this is a big step forward.
PEPFAR has been a scam, money scam, which she's heavily involved in.
Forward for all of us to
And
really.
what do you think of the timing? Am I right when I say about 8 years?
Well, we're always, to actually control the pandemic, to make it controllable and smaller, that's absolutely possible. To eradicate it, obviously we need a vaccine or a cure. There are groups working on that under your direction to really ensure.
How is that coming?
We make forward progress in vaccines and then a little step backwards and then forward
Tough one.
progress. It's tough work, and the cure is tough work, but your scientists are working on it around the clock and around the world.
Good. That'll be terrific. Mike, please.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I just appreciate the opportunity to express the gratitude that we all feel, Dan, to you and the incredible team at Gilead. And think of progress that you've made in such an extraordinary period of time. When the President brought the pharmaceutical companies here to the White House, you were among them. He said we wanted you to move out quickly on developing a vaccine, but he said develop the therapeutics as quickly as you can. We were told that it was possible that by the spring we would have therapeutics, and standing here on May the 1st, the very first therapeutic with the emergency use authorization, the good work of FDA is now available. And but donating 1.5 million doses Our task force will be working very closely with Gilead to make sure that those medicines, starting on Monday, are distributed to hospitals where patients are struggling in serious conditions with the...
Straight up, 1.5 million dosages, like say you have 4 dosages to clear it up, that is literally going to cover, from the stats that I've been looking at of patients who are in critical condition in ICU with the COVID, that's going to hit like all of them. That's actually, it sounds like they sat there and calculated how many dosages do we need in order to cover all these COVID patients who are in real critical care, who cannot do the oral medication. I feel that's how they came up with that 1.5 number, 1.5 million.
The coronavirus today. And so Dan, I hope you will carry back our gratitude, but I know the gratitude of the American people when they see the incredible ingenuity and generosity of the team at Gilead. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. Appreciate that.
And Adam, maybe you could say a few words. You were very instrumental in getting this done, and also on ventilators, getting us to be the kings and queens of ventilators. We
talk about ventilators. And Mr. Vice President, I really appreciate because you didn't wait.
Confident. We really weren't, but we saw the incredible human need, and we said, in the event that this is successful, we have to plan for success, and that's just the way that we operate. I'm proud to work for a company that takes those type of decisions.
And how many doses are we getting from the standpoint of the country and the contribution?
So we're particularly with the news around the fact that some patients, as Dr. Hahn mentioned, can benefit from only 5 days of treatment, which I think is a real benefit. By the way, for
5 days,
patients.
okay. I thought it was
They get
4.
5 days of IV, and if they're improving to get out of the hospital, great for them to get back to their loved ones, great for reducing the burden on the healthcare system. And then that 1.5 million doses goes longer, right? So we're talking, about more than 100,000 treatment courses, which again, we need more. And we're still ramping up, and we're going to have more in the second half of the year.
That's a great start.
But at least it's a start, and the most severe, the most serious patients, I think, were the ones that we'll work with the Vice President and his team on to make sure that we get it to the most serious patients first.
That's a great start. Thank you very much, Dan. Thank Gilead very much. Okay, thank you.
Well played. Well
That's
played.
fantastic. We'll be seeing you all in a little while. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well played, Mr. President. Wow. That was really cool. I was left speechless after that. I was like, wow. I had to go back on my comment and put, that wasn't even 4D chess, that was 5D chess. Well played, Potus. Checkmate. I mean, that's chess. That's checkers. You know what I'm saying. But still, that was very well played. So, okay, we're marching on, people. This needs to end soon before I'm praying. It has to, because I keep seeing me in Atlanta on Mother's Day, everybody there happy, everything's fine, and I knew something big was going to happen today. So let's just keep up the positive vibes, hold that space open for our loved ones who are still swimming in stupidity, swimming in the darkness, that as this information comes out, that it will trigger them to put down the Lysol. That's all I could say, to put down the damn Lysol before they completely destroy their immune systems. All right, guys, I'm out. We got this. We already got the victory. We did it in heaven. Now it manifests on earth. All right, bye. Peace.